Bridgerton is back for season 2 and I am obsessed. I'm just so intrigued with the lifestyle of that Regency era, and living here in the UK, I sometimes feel like I'm on a set of one of those period dramas because of all the old architecture. So I thought it would be fun for this video to combine all of that and live like a Bridgerton for the day. We are going to follow the daily routine of a Regency debutante. So I guess you can just call me Lady Campbellton for the day.
The day started between 8 and 9 a.m. for a Regency debutante. As soon as they wake up, they would have housemaids waiting on them to help them get ready for the day. The first step is usually to start with the makeup.
For the makeup today, I'm going to keep it very light because during the Regency period, people started to move away from that very dramatic makeup look where the face was completely powdered white and the bright red cheeks, and it was way more acceptable to have natural makeup. So even though they stripped back the makeup looks, blush remained really popular, or they would have called it rouge. So I'm gonna put some liquid blush just here, but just a little bit because it was supposed to still look like it was a natural cheek color. Back then, rouge was made of lead and rose powder, and I don't think the lead part would have been that good for your skin, but I guess they had to work with what they had. Today we have millions of eyeshadow colors to choose from, but today I'm just going to use a very light brown just to add some dimension in my eyelid. Lastly, I'm just going to set my face with some powder and add a little bit of mascara. This is the natural makeup look for today, so we are all done with that, and now we have to move on to the hair. Another fun ingredient that they liked to use back in the day was bear fat, and they used this to sleek their hair back. So I'm so glad we have moved on from that and we have other products to do that for us, because you will definitely not see me bringing bear fat close to my hair. For some reason, I feel like curling my hair, I feel like that fits with the Regency era vibes. What do we think of the hair? I just added this little Alice band as well, maybe more Gossip Girl than Bridgerton.
Flawless, my dear.
But I think it's gonna look cute with the outfit that I have planned, and that's the next step. Now we have to go get dressed. Again, normally these girls would have someone helping them to get dressed, and of course they had a lot of layers. They had their petticoat, corset, and then the actual dress that they were wearing. I won't be getting dressed up in all of that, and I definitely also don't need someone to help me get dressed. But living in Scotland, you do also need a lot of layers. It won't come in the shape of a corset though, it's more just extra layers for warmth. So let's get dressed for the day. We are now ready to get the day started. Breakfast is served at 10 a.m. and what I mean by served is I'm just gonna make my own breakfast. But before then, we have a few minutes to spare, and this time was used to catch up on some reading, writing, maybe doing some journaling or reading some letters. So I think I'm gonna use this time to catch up on a few messages and emails, and then we'll have breakfast. It's 10 a.m. and breakfast has been served. I have it here in front of me. I made a little fun platter with things that I would imagine would be served in Regency England for breakfast. They mentioned that this breakfast is quite light and there will usually be some pastries, chocolate. I added some fruit, and then of course you can't have breakfast in England without having some tea. So I think this breakfast checks all the boxes. Breakfast is enjoyed until 11 a.m. So you have an hour to just chill and have your breakfast completely different to the way I usually have my breakfast these days. I just either grab some toast or a bowl of cereal, and it's literally like a 10-15 minute thing. So it's really nice to start the day with a breakfast where I'm sitting down and just enjoying it. I think I'm going to put on some music and just have a lovely breakfast. Now that I've had breakfast, I feel like I can think a lot more clearly because I usually have breakfast a lot earlier than 10 a.m, but it was delicious. Now we have 2 hours, and this time is used by the debutantes to practice skills that women or wives are expected to have. In the Bridgerton series, you also see the debutantes, including Daphne, practicing all these skills like playing piano, sewing, cross-stitching. Women were only allowed and expected to know more about the cultural side of things and the arts, while men were supposed to learn maths and science. The skills that I have decided to practice today is firstly going to be piano, because it's actually one of my New Year's goals to start playing piano again. I used to play piano a lot, and then just in the last year I stopped. So now that I have this time, I might as well start playing again and just have a bit of fun with that. And then I think I'll also do some reading a bit later. Between 1 and 4 is known as the calling time. So this is when people can come over to your house to visit you, or when you can go out to visit other people. And you would only really visit someone outside of these hours if you are very close or if you had a personal invitation. If you were a real debutante, this was also the time that gentlemen were allowed to come over to the house and get to know you a little bit more. And of course, you would be chaperoned the entire time that he was there. This time can also just be used to go out into the town and get some shopping done. Popular destination was, of course, the seamstress for dresses, and people also used this time to go for a walk through the park and maybe even grab lunch while you were out. That's gonna be my plans for this afternoon. I think I'm gonna head over to Old Town, which I think is the perfect setting for a Bridgerton day. Old Town is just, as the name suggests, frozen in time with all that old architecture.
I walked up Johnston Terrace, which is one of the roads that lead you into Old Town. Again, this just feels like a movie set to me. I can't imagine how old some of these buildings must be. If you turn around, you have a view of Edinburgh Castle, which also has hundreds of years of history. As you can see, there's a lot of people up there taking photos and admiring the view. Definitely an iconic landmark here in Edinburgh. Another landmark is the Hub, this Gothic cathedral that you see here, and its spiral roof is actually the tallest point in the entire city. I continue to walk down the Royal Mile. I love the cobblestone road. Here you will find a bunch of little cafes, pubs, shops. It is quite touristy and I wouldn't necessarily buy anything here, but it's definitely a nice road to wander around. Further down the road we have St. Giles Cathedral, which was built in the 14th century, and the inside is just as impressive as the outside. Walking down one of the side roads, I decided it was time to stop and grab something to eat. I thought it would be good to go to Layla's because it just reminds me of the tea room in Bridgerton. It is definitely a lot more 21st century than 19th century, and it's a very Instagrammable spot. I loved all the cute decor inside. I've been wanting to go here for quite a while, but a few times it was fully booked, so I was so glad to get a table. But of course it is a cafe, so it's not just all about the looks. So let's move on to the menu. I decided to have the rose and pistachio cheesecake because rose is one of my favorite flavors, and this definitely did not disappoint. So nice and creamy, and I had this fun pink lemonade cocktail. It was quite a sweet combo, but I would definitely go back to Layla's, really delicious, but I just felt like I needed to burn some calories after that, so I decided to walk further down the Royal Mile. We walk down the whole of the Royal Mile and through Old Town, and at the end you will find Holyrood Palace, which is actually the Queen's castle here in Scotland and where she will stay if she visits Scotland. And the reason why I wanted to come all this way is because in Bridgerton there is the Queen's Ball where she decides who the diamond of the season is going to be. And something that you might not know is that a similar ceremony was held here in Scotland. Similar to how debutantes were presented to society in England, the upper class in Scotland also had the same traditions, and the Queen's Ball was hosted here at Holyrood Palace. The last debutante ceremony that was hosted here was in 1958, which was actually a lot more recent than I thought it would be.
We're back from our afternoon out on the town, which was so much fun, and we are moving into the evening now. Dinner is usually served at 6 p.m, which I find quite early because some nights I am still working at 6 or coming home from the office, but I guess you don't have to worry about that when you are a Regency debutante. During the social season, you would then also get ready to go out to a ball at 8 o'clock. And unfortunately, I have not been invited to any balls tonight. The Campbellton family must be involved in some type of scandal. But if I was, I would be getting ready to go out to a ball, which we see a lot of in the Bridgerton series. If it wasn't a ball, you might be going to the opera or the theatre. And this used to go on till around 11 p.m. and then you would actually have your fourth meal of the day. That would usually be champagne and some cold meats and appetizer style food, so nothing big, but ending your night off with some champagne definitely sounds like the way to go for me. I guess we've kind of replaced that fourth meal with getting late night McDonald's or KFC after being out. Seeing as I unfortunately don't have any social season events to take you to, I'm going to end off my day as Lady Campbellton. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video and spending the day as a Regency debutante with me. And if you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like down below. And if you want to check out any of my other videos, remember to also subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and then I will see you in a new video next week.